going to choose them first. But watch this.
Apartheid was a problem, but this is the only country in the world where the majority has got affirmative action. America has got affirmative action, everybody's got affirmative action, but this is the only country where the majority has got affirmative action.
Apartheid was a problem, but look, and that's one thing you got to watch out too. The white supremacist, he's a white supremacist. He said apartheid was a problem, but this is the only place they got affirmative action. There was affirmative action. America got affirmative action. You feel me? But now, I want you to all this and notice how the middle of it is packed with a lot of meat. It's a lot of glossing over, but watch this.
Post-apartheid governments have struggled to achieve redistribution of wealth and economic growth, and formerly comfortable Afrikaners see themselves as victims of reverse apartheid. In spite of this, white South Africans still control most of the country's economy.
Let me play that again for you.
See themselves as victims of reverse apartheid. In spite of this, white South Africans still control most of the country's economy.
See, that's the thing. But the majority is getting it. So if the whites still controls most of the countries, not a city, the whole country's economy. And now that you gotta share, it's a problem. Because you have to share, you control most of the country's economy, and you gotta share, and it's a problem. And because you gotta share, now you actually starting to see what happens, and it start to really settle out, and now start to be poor white people. And look, we ain't supposed to be poor, we're white. So you want the whole white supremacy and the white privilege to constantly play a role, but the thing is, you got to let it go. You got to share. You know what? I think we got to start teaching that to the younger children in school. Share. So when they start to share, then when they don't grow up and be like this and start to understand and think that they're supposed to have everything and everybody else is supposed to stay poor and live in these kind of townships, you live there. Look how it expanded. This is not just one little area. This was all my land, but now I have to create a little bit for you, and a little bit for you, and a little bit for you. There's no backyards. Look, barely got room to hang their dirty clothes, their clean clothes to dry. You feel me? So, sharing is key. And this is where we're moving at in this world. And the United States really is going to face this same thing in the world. So, the bully get ganged up on by the bullied. See, when a bully one person, it's cool. 2 people, you get away with it. 3 people, you keep them in fear. But once it starts to get 10, it's too many for you to constantly keep on. Them bullies start to attack you, and it's too many for you to swing on. When they realize you only got 2 hands, and you're not as strong as all of them, that's when a problem kicks in. And right now, whites, while you still have the majority of the power, it causing most of the problems on the face of the planet. You feel me? Like, let's think about it. Mexicans and blacks have some problems in Los Angeles, right? But when has Mexico and Africa ever went to war? In any of the African nations ever went to war? When has Africa ever went to war with any country outside of Africa? When has Mexico ever went to war with any country outside of Mexico? We got to start looking at these things. The United States has been around 242 years, been at war for 224 years? 20 years of peace? Come on, homie. So we got to really look at this thing. And the United States going to people for chemicals, weapons, but talking about building more nuclear weapons. We got to really look at this thing in a fair sense of manner. Let's get rid of this white privilege thing and this white supremacy thing. And look, and I'm not just, like right now, I see a steady progression of us, and I'm teaching my children to progress. My children is not going to fight for white supremacist cause. Is not going to fight for white supremacist cause. It is not going to happen. My children are going to teach their children the same thing. I don't have to go get no gun to go shoot up no motherfucking malls. Don't got to do it. All we got to do is start teaching, and they're right. So I teach my children an African language, and I'm going to do a video on language and why language is important. So, look, man, we got to start dissecting these videos and really going at this thing. This thing is really breaking down, and that is dangerous. Because when whites start losing power, they get very, very violent. And the whites that do understand this, y'all have to start speaking up more. Y'all have to start calming down more. Because this thing could get very ugly when they start pressing them nuclear buttons. And think of what races are in control of nuclear buttons. The majority of the people that are in control of nuclear buttons are white. And if they could get to the mindset where you have to share, and it's okay to share, then we could get rid of all the nuclear weapons. So we can have a trickle-down theory of getting rid of the big guns down to the little guns. And we can live peaceful on Earth and start living in harmony with not just each other, but in harmony with Earth. Power to the people.